All right, looks like I'm live here. So how's everybody doing? Darren, I got you on here. Looks like
Yep.
we
How's
are
it going?
good to go. Everything's going good, man. I know you wanted to share this and stuff, so if you need to jump on there, I am going to start sharing my screen right away. I will go here. All right. So we're going to do this so that for recording purposes, cool. Looks like everything's good there. And we are underway. Awesome. Let's do this here. Perfect. Just wanted to make sure we were good to go. Awesome. Okay, my man. So we are all set. As you can see, we're going to be doing our go ahead and our weekly update that we have going here with what's happening inside of the housing market. I am Sean Guerrero, and today we're going to go with some Kitsap housing market data, but I have a very, very special guest who is a great friend of mine. His name is Darren Rivers. So without further ado, I will go ahead and bring Darren on here. How's it going, my man?
Good. How are you? Thanks for having me today, man.
Excellent, excellent. So we're going to go through some stuff, just some of the basic stats. I know that you've been really kind in helping me, but first to say a couple words about Darren. He's been a great friend of mine, excellent golfer. You know, I golf like Ray Charles. He is out there killing it. But aside from that, definitely one of the top real estate agents in the county. And he's offered to take a few minutes with me and just really spend some time talking about what's happening inside of the market. So we're going to go over that right now. And yeah, without further ado, let's see. I'm working on multiple screens here. So, Darren, this is your neck of the woods. So I will let you go ahead and start and talk about what's happening in the market.
Yeah. So as you can see by the data that Sean just put up here, there's just really no inventory. There's a lot more buyers than there are houses available. You can see right there, only 333 available in all of Kitsap County, 96 listed in the last week, 197 pending in the last week, and 118 sold. Really competitive market. So when I'm working with buyers, expect to be in some bidding wars, expect to be going against competition. So there's ways that we can orchestrate offers to make yours look the strongest without necessarily overpaying. It's not always about price. Sometimes it's about some of the contingencies and the way things are worded that really, when you get things over the top, escalation clauses also can kick in. Yeah. Now, if you want to sell, man, it's the great thing is you have no competition there either, right? You're the only house on the block, and you're going to have 40 people in it over a weekend and 10 offers, and you're going to climb the price. So it's a busy market, but not a lot of inventory, but a lot of action.
Right. No, that's a great point. Last week when I was doing a housing update on this, on the market, I was talking about how there's actually a article that came out from Redfin. You know, Redfin's one of the big players in the space. There's a couple of those guys. There's your Zillows. There's, you know, just guys like that who are generating content aside from listing houses. And one of the things they talked about were over 68% of all homes actually were involved in some form of a bidding war. So you got to think, if you go and you throw in almost 7 offers on a house, there's other people who are looking at those houses. And it makes sense if you start to look at some of the lower parts of there. I mean, there's only 333 houses that are currently available that are residential properties in Kitsap County. So what does that look like? As you can see on the slide, that's about 3 homes for every eligible, you know, potential buyer that's inside of the market right now. And it's just because housing is seriously hot right now. I mean, if you're looking at some of the data, what is it, year over year, we're down 13% from where we were last year. So
yeah, so buyers got to be aware of this. When you're looking at whatever site you're looking on, or your real estate agent is sending you homes, and let's say something is listed for $400,000, be prepared that you may have to pay more than $400,000 to get it, because most likely that house is going to climb. When I list houses, I try to list them a little bit on the lower end of the market range to do exactly that, create a bidding war, and it ends up getting the sellers even more. So just be mindful, $400,000 list price does not mean $400,000 purchase price. It's most likely going to be higher.
So I guess to kind of just simplify it and unpack it a little bit, if you're looking for a house right now and you're looking at a house that is 400,000, probably a good chance that that house might go for 414,000. So if your top end budget's really 400,000, you might want to be looking at 380, 390 ish.
Yep.
Is that about right?
That's absolutely true. I've seen them climb anywhere from $10,000 to even up to $50,000 over, depending on the property. I mean, there's a lot of variables.
Darren also works in Gig Harbor, so just for some of you folks, there's a price point different. We're just going to call it what it is. There's a price point.
Yeah, I do a lot of business in Pierce County. It is a different demographic. It is a different price point, but still all the same principles kind of play in the same. Absolutely. They just might be on different scales.
Absolutely. So when we're looking at this, the reason why housing's so hot, we'll get into a couple of the reasons, but one of them is you got to take a look and see what the overall play is as far as it goes with housing appreciation. What I mean by that is, if you take a look at it in Kitsap County, over 60 years, we're getting a 4.5% return if you bought a home 60 years ago, which I don't even think that home would really exist, but it is what it is. If you're looking at some of the other stuff that's going into play, over 5 years, you're getting about 7.63% return on your money. So what does that really mean when it comes to brass tacks? Well, if you bought a house today at $401,000, which is the median price in Kitsap County, in about 5 years, you can expect to receive a $94,384 return, which is huge. That's a lot of money, especially with some of the zero down loans that there are. It's really advantageous, especially if you're getting a VA home loan. The money's just there. It's great. One of the things I did want to point out was we have about a 265,000 population here in Kitsap County. And when you're looking at that, about 93,000 renters is what we have. And that's county to county. That's like, all of Kitsap, all the way going back from Port Orchard, all the way on up north past Paulsbo. I mean, that's all of that. So keep that in mind. Let's see, I'll slide over to the next slide here for you. And so this is where I'll do some commenting on. So I got multiple screens over here. I get asked this question a ton. Hey, Sean, what are interest rates like today? So rather than try to talk to you guys about all the different types of mortgages, I'd rather just bring up what the national averages are. So some caveats to this. I know right now you guys are seeing on TV, on the internet, historically low interest rates. Yes, they're so low. Oh my gosh. All right. Yes, they are super, super low. But what I want to really highlight is a couple of things right here. It always says right here, 0.8 fees or points. What does that really mean to you? So that means about, it's about 0.8% of 1 point. So 1 point is equal to 1% of a home loan. So if you're buying a $100,000 house, just to use round numbers, it's going to cost you $800 in closing costs up front, aside from your other closing costs, just to purchase that house at that interest rate. It's also, if you go, I put the website address down there if you want to screenshot it. That's Freddie Mac's actual, that's their actual website where they post the national averages on rates. What you'll see there too is they have a buyer perspective. So your interest rate can change for a whole bunch of different reasons. It can change because of your credit score, loan program, all that stuff. And what it's talking about here is somebody who has a 740 credit score and is going to put 20% down. And that's really the buyer profile for all of these. So what you're seeing is you'll see 2.9% on a 30-year fix. That's actually up since last week. That's down 0.75% year over year, which we'll get into in a second. 2.4 is about the national average. on a 15-year fix, and 2.9 is what it looks like on a 5/1 ARM. So I know, Darren, you and I were talking before we got on here about this part of the slide right here. You want to elaborate on that?
Oh man, interest rates, I've never seen anything like it. So I bought my first house in 1996, and I got locked at 8.25. 8.25. 8.25. 8.25. So I mean, we're talking 3 to 4 times what they are now. My parents bought the house I grew up in the 70s, and they were locked at 14%. 14% interest rate. So I mean, 2.5%, 3%. Like you said, there's some variety or parameters there, and they vary depending on the client. But I mean, you're talking it's as close to free money as you can get. And what really helps is with the market the way it is, and prices being pretty on a high end right now, with the interest rate so low, it really balances that out, because you can get into a more expensive house and actually have a less payment because the interest rates are so low.
Yeah, and we'll get into that in a second. Over here, what I wanted to point out was, Mortgage Bankers Association, they always post out data, and I think it's important for everybody to know because they can kind of get a pulse of the market and what's going on here. So overall mortgage applications were up 6.8%. All right, so that just means more people than the week before doing something with the home loan application. Purchases up 3%. 26% year over year. So despite us having a ton of low inventory, the applications, the offers for properties are still coming in, and they're coming in strong. If you're taking a look, refinance applications, they're up 9%, 86% year over year. So things just to kind of watch, refinances were up 100% year over year. And if you look, they tailed off. Now it's only 63%. As opposed to up 100%. So that's a big change. I know a lot of it has to do with this refinance fee, which I will jump into in a little bit, but it's definitely a big indicator on why you're seeing the refinances go down. And Darren, I'll get your perspective on this one. I've heard so many times like, oh my gosh, are we heading for another 2008, Great Recession? And what I saw was homes in foreclosures. This is a recent report that was brought out by CoreLogic. Homes in foreclosures have been suppressed due to government programs. So 10 years ago, 102,134 homes were repossessed in the month of August. So that's August 2010. That's how many homes were repossessed. Jeez. All right, we're going through a similar situation with just having a pandemic, and there's a crisis. Obviously, it's affected the financial markets. Only 2,035 homes were repossessed. And usually and that's across the country. So think about it. That usually is because somebody can't get an estate worked out, somebody passed away and they didn't leave the house to anybody, and the house has just been sitting there. It's pretty extenuating circumstances. So like for the most part, I mean, that's not the case. We're not seeing the foreclosures come on the market. I mean, you have anything to add as far as commentary to that?
Yeah, I do actually. And it's kind of look at what the root cause is. Okay. So the housing crash back in 2006, 7, and 8 was exactly that. It was a housing crash. It was because people were getting loans on houses they had no business being able to afford. It was a housing market crisis. Where this is a worldwide pandemic, the housing market is still very strong. This is not caused from the housing market. People are getting into homes. The loan, as you can speak to, Sean, the loan qualification process is a lot more stringent than it was back then. So it's much more responsible. It's really much more responsible than it was then. So the housing market is strong. People that are in their houses with their mortgages are in there because they're qualified to be in there and can afford to do it. Whereas, 10, 12 years ago, that wasn't the case. So the whole reason for the financial uproar and everything going on now is not housing related. It's the pandemic related. So the housing market is stable, is strong. Everybody that is a homeowner is in there because they should be in there.
Right. I 100% agree with you. And what we were talking about when it came to interest rate, This is something that I think has really affected the level of inventories that we have inside of the market. So I just threw up something that was generic so that everybody can take a look and see what the numbers look like. What I really want you to pay attention to is the difference that 1% in interest rate makes. So I think we can all come to an agreement that the government has suppressed interest rates and brought them down, and that's why we're at these historic lows. They really shouldn't be. I mean, we shouldn't be here forever. That's definitely something to acknowledge. But when you're looking at it and you're taking a look at this, if you bought a house and you got it at a 3.75% interest rate, okay, instead of $400,000 mark, if interest rates were to go up by 1%, you would lose 10% of what you're able to purchase. So what does that mean? If for some reason interest rates spike 1% and you're currently pre-approved for 4% or for 400,000, you can only be qualified for 360,000 if interest rates, go up from 2.9 to 3.9. And as we could see earlier, I'll go back to it. 3.9 is not bad. 3.9 is not a bad interest rate. Especially when you're looking at things historically. So, do you think, Darren, you're the expert, you're the guy that's in the field, boots on the ground. Do you think that rates and what people are able to afford have kind of contributed at least to the bidding wars that we're seeing right now?
Oh, 100%. Your slide right here shows it. If somebody is looking at a $400,000 house and the previous interest rate was 4.5%, so their payment would be a little over $2,000 a month, and all of a sudden, though, they drop a whole point or a point and a quarter. Well, maybe they can afford $430, $440 and have that same $200,000 or $2,000 a month payment. So, that's really what it comes down to, is people are more concerned about what their monthly payment is to live within their means than what the actual purchase price is. It really comes down to what's in your monthly budget. So interest rates play a huge role in that.
I couldn't agree more. So this is your part of the show, my man. All right. One of the reasons why I had you on here is, from time to time, I'll have different real estate agents come on here. I know that you're doing a great job with a lot of my clients right now, your clients as well. And you're showing what's going on the market. So we know that the median home price in Kitsap County is $401,000. Across the country, it's like $310,000, I think is what you and I were looking up. And that factors in everybody from New York and Beverly Hills to Alabama and Nebraska. So, what we're seeing is what we can get at different price points in Kitsap County right here. So it's like a mini version of House Hunters.
Right.
So
Sean, really quick, do I just press my screen share button here? Your screen?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing mine. And all you, if you hit share screen.
There we go, like so.
It should come up. You should hit share screen.
I think I did. Oh, share. Here we go. Sorry.
Yep.
How's that? Got me?
Yes, sir. And you want to flip over to that screen real quick?
Yep. There you go. Got it?
All you, my man.
All right. So I just wanted to go over three houses, different price ranges. This is just to here in Kitsap County.
Probably
what's going
on that a little bit. Hit the green button so it takes up the full side of that so we can see everything.
How's that?
Yeah, that's better.
All right, very good. Okay, so this house right here, this is a pre-sale. This house is not built yet. It's kind of ironic. Sean and I just got a client under contract with one of these houses in this neighborhood. Expected close date or completion date is sometime in March of 2021. If you can see on here, price point is just under $400,000, $395,000, $950,000. So this is right in that range of the median price point. Brand new home, comes with the warranties, things like that, and you also have the ability to choose certain upgrades, flooring, countertops, things of that nature. Can't change the structure of it or anything like that. That comes as is. But some of the finishes and colors and things like that, you have choices on. So These are what's called pre-sales. You get locked into them. Well, the great thing is you got locked into them at today's price. And by the time March comes around, it might be worth $30,000 more, but you're locked into it at today's price, and you move in upon completion. Your payments and things don't start until completion. That's when the transaction closes, but you get under contract now.
Yeah,
so
I know a lot of people have questions about. Yeah, I know. I know there's a lot of questions about, well, how can I make sure that I have my interest rate, at the same, like what if interest rates change in between now and then, especially after that last slide that we showed. And that would just be extended lock periods. You can lock your loan out much further these days. I mean, 60, 90-day locks are available, and you just want to talk to the lender about that, and so that you can protect yourself from volatility of the interest rates, so that you don't get, so that, you're not under contract on a home and then it goes away.
Okay. All right. On to number 2 here. So this one I thought was an interesting home, and I wanted to bring up this one for a specific reason. So I did a search on this from $500,000 to $600,000. You can see this is 567. It's got some really cute curb appeal. It's a nice, comfortable home. Might need some little updating here and there if you wanted to be, the latest and greatest. But what was really interesting to me about this was right here. I don't know if you can see my cursor or not. Cumulative days on the market. So it's been on the market 9 days. And whoever would have thought that 9 days was a long time on the market. But I mean, things are selling in a weekend. They're selling after a day or two. So 9 days is, a year ago, I would have thought nothing of it. But now I'm thinking, wow, 9 days, that's a long time. You might have a little negotiating power because you're not competing against anybody else at this point. So I think that's a strange dynamic in today's market, that people start looking at a house that's been on the market for over a week and automatically they're questioning what's wrong when nothing's wrong. It just might be $5,000 overpriced. Really, there's it's kind of astonishing, actually. So that's why I brought this one up, is I saw the 9 days on the market, and I was like, wow, you might be able to negotiate a little bit there and not be in a bidding war and not have that price climb, maybe even get it a little under.
Nice.
And then the last one, I thought I'd find something on the water here for us. So this is up in Kingston. It's just under $1 million. It's only been on the market 2 days, on over an acre with 119 feet of low bank waterfront. I mean, it's just a really charming, beautiful setting. And I do not anticipate this one being on the market long. Somebody's going to snatch it quickly. And in fact, this is a house. We talked about bidding wars. Bidding wars most often happen a little bit in the lower, more average price points, those $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 price ranges. You get up to $1 million, you don't have many bidding wars because there's just a smaller demographic that's going after those homes. But this house, they're actually reviewing offers on the 28th. And whenever they're putting an offer review date, they're hoping to get multiple offers and climb that price up. And that's one that may happen here. This one's going to be gone after the weekend. It'll be gone.
Is this, so when you have properties that are like this and they have that offer review date, is that typically something the average person can see?
No, most of the offer review dates are in the agent remarks. They're not in the public remarks. So if you're on a Zillow or a Redfin, you can't see that unless the listing broker actually puts it in the public marketing remarks. Most of the time, they're in the agent remarks, which only we can see in the MLS.
Got it. That's pretty cool, man. That is pretty cool.
So those were the 3 houses that I wanted to show you guys. Wide variety of types of house, price points of house, different marketplace for each of them, of course. And if you have any questions at all, here's my website. It's the northwestrealtor.com. I've got all my bio stuff on there, my listings, different information. If you want anything, you can scroll through there, call me up, and I'd be more than happy to help with any of it.
That's fantastic, man. So thank you very much. I know, like I said, I was going to put your contact info here. See you at your illustrious Canterwood golf course that I know that you enjoy so much, and we'll have to go out there and knock out some rounds. But yeah, man, you're more than welcome to stick around. If you got a jet, you got a jet. I was just going to touch on a couple more things before I let everybody go here. Let's see. I will slide through that. So one of the questions I've been asked a lot is, should I still look at refinancing despite all of the despite all the rising costs? So yes, interest rates have been super low. I'm going to share a different screen here, and let's see, application window. There we go. All right. So this was something that came out on Como News. And so if you're on Como News and you're, looking at some of the stuff that's on here, what you'll see is these guys are talking about how interest rates have been, or I'm sorry, the cost for refinances have gone up. So this was something that was just published September 21st on there. And you'll see the big thing that it's talking about is the new loan fee. So what it's talking about here is you need to get off the fence because a 0.5 percentage point fee will be added to many mortgage refinance loans starting December 1st, 2020. And at the very bottom of the article, again, I'll highlight it for you guys if you can't see it on there. It does talk about how the person they're interviewing is saying that it won't be on FHA or VA home loans because those loans aren't done for government backing there. So it'll definitely affect a lot of folks who are trying to refinance. There's a ton of content that's out there on it, and I will definitely be sharing some as well. Let's see. Go ahead and I will finish sharing these couple of screens for you guys. Let's see. And then let's see. I will share a different screen right here so that you guys can see what I'm looking at. So one of the big things is, if you are going to think about refinancing, there really is 4 reasons why you should look at refinancing. So one of them is you're going to save 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. So if you are doing a cash out refinance, definitely go ahead and put away some expenses. A lot of times you're going to be able to drop your interest rate. But if you can take out a little bit of cash right now to save just in case you get a second wave of things or whatever's out there, always good to have 3 to 6 months expenses. Another one is to analyze the total cost of debt over time. So like when you're looking at things and you're looking at how much interest you're paying, and anywhere you can save is going to be huge. Another one is you definitely want to pay off as much consumer debt right now because the consumer debt is the stuff that can kill you. The non-tax deductible items, the things that are really going to impact your finances, credit cards, things like that. And then also analyzing different strategies to reduce your debt costs. So, what can you pay down or pay off? All really good things to take a look at when you're considering refinancing. So that's a quick answer to that. You guys know that I do have 2 podcasts that are out. You can check that out on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. And I just got done doing a great podcast with one of my mentors and friends, Robin Barrows. This is more like my personal podcast that I have out there. Definitely something I'm passionate about. But we're really just talking about everything that happened that helped me work with different business ventures and some things that I was introduced to, and just some great questions. So you'll see some clips. I'll definitely be promoting that. Other than that, you guys, I got to put the legal stuff up on there because they told me I have to put the legal stuff up on there. And that's a wrap for me. So if you guys do have any questions for me, feel free to leave them in the comments. I'll put some of the links that we discussed in the comments as well. And thank you so much for Darren for joining me today. And other than that, I hope you guys are having an amazing day.